What up, everybody? Welcome to the 6th ever episode of the Anime Version Podcast. You got me, Gozen from Anime Uproar, and my co-host, Briggs. What up, Briggs?
What up, boys? Always good to be here. Oh my god, Attack on Titan's crazy.
Bro, the insanity. We got Ray, the anime and Attack on Titan version, and Sasha Homeboy. What up?
I know, I have a box of Kleenex here for me.
Aw.
I'm so upset.
Bro, like that could be taken in a completely different context, but I know what you mean.
Only you, Gozen. Only you.
You alluded to Sasha, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just love my my double entendres.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, Sasha was looking good in this season with the new studio.
No, she was. I agree. But then, if we stopped like right before the last episode, like it could be taken differently. But
Yeah.
I know what you mean now, Ray. So we are discussing the final season, the first 8 episodes of it. So that's what it is, right up to the Assassin's Bullet episode. And then next episode, we're going to be discussing every episode after that of the anime that's out before that podcast. So there was supposed to be 7 out by that point, but there was an earthquake in Japan and it affected the airing, and now like the episodes aren't coming out. So worst case scenario, we cover 5 episodes for the next podcast, or if they actually come out as they were supposed to, it will be the next 7.
It might just be 6, actually, because we missed 1 week and we're at 5. So next week, if it ends up returning to a normal schedule, we should be at 6. So it's probably 5 or 6 by then.
I'm just not sure if they're like gonna squeeze it in somewhere.
Double it up. Yeah, they usually don't.
Yeah, because my understanding was they started like airing it, but then like the earthquake happened and they had to stop airing it. So yeah, but you're right. They might just.
Apparently, someone in chat said next Sunday they'll do 2 episodes. I have never seen that done before, but that's cool.
Well, yeah, the earthquake was a very like.
Yeah,
you didn't see
I
it
just know
coming.
that there's been like natural disasters and stuff in Japan, and usually it just delays 1 week episode. It happens with manga all the time as well. But yeah, that's really cool. Looking forward to it.
So then, Ray, so you can't watch everything, just so you know, right away. You'll have to wait until Sunday evening to watch the last 2 episodes we're going to be discussing for the next podcast episode.
Cool. So this is like fresh off the press.
This is fresh off the presses, bro.
He is now an Attack on Titan Chad. He's caught up.
Yeah, almost.
This is the first time, like up until this point, me and Gozen had, or at least me, because I know Gozen reads the manga, had watched every episode once, and then we were coming into this watching it a second time. But this was the first time I watched this season of Attack on Titan, right with you, Ray.
Mm-hmm. No,
Although I did read the manga, but.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Still,
I've been watching.
My first time seeing this adaptation. It was so cool.
Yeah, like it's fucking really good. Some people complained about like the CGI aspects, but I think they did a great job overall. And honestly, it gives the Titans like a creepy look that kind of goes well with the idea that they're supposed to be creepy.
Yeah,
you know,
Ray, what did you think
Titans.
with the animation changes from this season to the previous?
Yeah, I was fine with it. I don't have any complaints. Like it did make them a bit creepier, like you said, but I thought overall it was good.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad per se. It was definitely different from the previous seasons. I mean,
and sometimes there was CGI in previous seasons too. So let's not be like, there was no CGI before.
Although I could see where some people are coming from. I don't think it was bad, but I don't know if it was as good as the previous seasons. But nothing to complain about, honestly.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I'm guessing that people use CGI to save money, and so a lot more money would go into the other scenes. So if they were actually, like, not using CGI at all, the way I understand it is the rest wouldn't be as high quality. So that's just how I understand it. I might be wrong, but at the end of the day, I think they're doing the best that they can, and I think it's actually, like, really good. I watched this part, and I'm like, shit, bro. I was telling Briggs I really love the basement season, but yeah, this season's better.
Dude, imagine like coming into this season with like a break between seasons, and out of nowhere you're following like I don't remember their names. The Marylands or Marlins. How do you pronounce them?
Yeah, so they say in the dub Marlians.
Marlians.
So
Okay, they're following the Marlians and the Eldians in a completely different place in the world, different characters. Like, imagine a little bit of a break and you come into this, like, what is this show? Like, what was your reaction, Ray?
I liked the perspective change. I thought it was a really cool way to move the plot. I think the end of season 3, you had them looking out like past the sea, wondering what's beyond there. And then at first, obviously, you're a bit confused. And
are you like, I clicked the wrong anime? Like, what's going on?
I did like clue in right away that it was probably the Marleyans, because we're hinted that there's this world beyond. And I thought it must be them, because we've gotten glimpses of what it's like there with the flashbacks. So I thought it was them. But in terms of the way the plot shifted to focus on the Marleyans, I thought it was a great approach to the season. I found it started a little slow until we get the whole situation with Eren and how he's recognized and he turns into the Titan, and then all of a sudden, like, shit just got crazy. Like, we get all these fights, but
because they had to build up that side of the world, right? And I think it was a much smoother transition now, or this time around for me, because last week we watched the episodes where the final episode we had the final couple episodes we had a flashback, and then we had them looking across the sea, Eren recognizing that there's an enemy across the sea type of thing, and now this time we start with like their perspective, and it was definitely a slow build to build up that little world that has never been introduced to us.
Yeah, it's very important though. So I assume that the fact that everything is new and you're figuring everything out is supposed to make up for the fact that it doesn't jump into the action right away.
It took me back to the beginning of season 1 when, the world was being built, and you're kind of you're with the perspective of the citizens and not knowing much beyond the world, or at least pretending that you are in this case. So I saw some parallels with like season 1, even like Gabi. I'm like, wow, that's kind of like how Eren was, this kind of, I don't want to say cocky, but this like very loud person who wants to see beyond the walls.
I'm glad you saw that parallel.
So, yeah, that was cool to follow her around, getting Reiner's a bit more of his backstory, and like kind of struggling with, do I empathize with this guy or not, because of his mixed like heritage there. So a lot of things to think about here, and it got complicated.
No, it did get super complicated, and I thought you brought up a lot of great points with Reiner as like trying to understand where he was coming from, and we got to the point where even Eren straight up says, "Yo, I recognize that you did what you did because you had to do it," kind of thing. To have that coming from Eren, who hated what happened so much, and to have him mature as a character enough to say that.
Well, because now he's in the same shoes. Eren feels like he's forced to do this, even though technically, like, he's not forced to do it.
Debatable, bro. Debatable, because Reiner wasn't forced to do it in like a gun to your head. You got to do this or I'll kill you. He was forced to do it because that was what he thought was the best for him and his nation. While Eren is doing, in my opinion, what he thinks is the best for his nation.
Well, fuck. It's hard for me to bring up my point, 'cause I don't know if it's a spoiler or not.
Okay, well, do you know where we stopped? With like,
I know exactly where we stopped. It just
Yeah.
it comes down to whether Ray interpreted it yet.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Do you know what I mean? It's like Reiner was ordered as a child to go and attack these people, you know?
Yeah, no, it was. They did bring up the fact that they were like brainwashed children.
Brainwashed children. These guys are devils within the walls. Like,
yeah, Eren did say that. Yeah, so that's not a spoiler.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and I won't bring it up.
No, for sure, and that is a difference. Like, obviously, Reiner was an impressionable kid. Eren is an adult. But
it is really cool. It is really cool though, seeing now like what's it called? Eren and all of them kind of taking charge and attacking versus being the people that have been attacked the entire time. They were always on the defensive inside the walls, and now they're on the offensive for the first time. And then that's kind of where it applies, where Ray was bringing up this parallel, right? Because now like innocent civilians on their side are dying. You have Gabi
Eren,
being influenced in a similar way to Eren, and it's so unique. Even watching Armin in colossal Titan form, like he's trampling children and civilians.
Yeah, Armin's the craziest out of everyone to believe that he did that. But like he said, at this point, there's no future for them. Even he says it, if they don't get Eren back and stuff like that. So again, they're acting in what they think is like the only way possible for them to have any kind of future.
My apologies. It was said. Because I couldn't remember if it was apparent that kind of Eren kind of took charge on his own here. Like Levi said, like or whoever, maybe it was Jean who said that Eren made himself a hostage.
Yeah, a lot of people said it. Like Hanji said it.
Yes, so it's already been stated. That's why I was saying it's a little bit different for Reiner and Eren. Like Eren feels like he's forced to, but technically he took charge on his own. It wasn't an order.
Yeah, exactly. So again, there is that difference. And to be fair, like in Reiner's defense, he was a kid and he was following orders, while for Eren, he was going against orders, like just acting on his own, and he is an adult. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do, man? It's all gray areas.
It's so gray area. It is so gray area.
And I just want to know, Ray, what do you think of Gabi? Because she's like you said, she's totally, in my opinion, like the Eren at the beginning of Attack on Titan, where there's a clear enemy, the Titans, and she just he wanted to obliterate them. And she wants to do the same with the Island Devils, right? So do you empathize with her? Do you hate her? Does she piss you off? How do you feel about her?
Well, at the very end, she pissed me off for what she did. But prior, I mean, I do empathize with her. You see that with Eren as well. She doesn't know like the full truth per se. And like she's also smart in the sense of she understands that the time to just rely on Titans to fight your battles is over. Like at the beginning, we get that whole expansionist quest where like the other forces, the other militaries have come up with advanced technology that wasn't around just a few years ago, at least. So she recognizes that. And like, would you argue that first episode when she steps in and ends up throwing those explosives under the train there, would they win that battle if she doesn't do that?
Yeah, well,
I think they would have still won the battle.
No,
I think they would have still won the battle, but those 800 Eldians probably would have died.
The thing was, it was close. But they probably would have won with like more losses. But that whole battle, like the main thing that got away in the newspapers was, they won, but like the armored Titan was destroyed, right? So. So if that, like, there were so many lucky breaks in that battle that it really could have potentially gone a different way if some things changed. Because if you looked at the way, if let's say the Armor Titan didn't block the Beast Titan, then he wouldn't have been able to finish off the ships. They could have kept firing. Certain times, Armored Titan was saved by the Jaw Titan. So there were so many instances where things could have gone horribly wrong in that fight. Yeah.
I still think that they probably would have pulled it off just because, like, they really massacred those guys, like, with the whole, they were dropping Titans on them. Like, they could have dropped Titans on that, on the train, right? I just think they were going to be used, like, those 800 Eldians were kind of going to be used as, like, bait and most likely die trying to take down that train, and she saved their lives, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. 800 people. And, I mean, she's quite hated in the fandom. Right?
So I get why, but I don't get why as well. It's like when everything was blowing up, I was a little bit confused.
I think part of it is, and obviously I can't speak for everyone, but I think part of it is the fact that she takes Eren's qualities, and like his irrationality in the beginning, and applies it to humans, A, and B, we know those humans. So
yes.
We know, we've seen them grow up. We've seen what they've been through. And the way she hates them, as if like, you know, like in a brainwashed way, not seeing the humanity within them, Like that's, I think, what people hate and are irritated about. But at the same time, I think it's telling that she pretty much is like Eren, and the only difference is, like in the beginning, Eren in the beginning, and the only difference is that we didn't know the other side that Eren was fighting, while we do know the other side that Gabi is fighting.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So
I
think
think it's
Isayama
like
did that on
I think
purpose.
because it's so like the contrast is so nice, or I mean the comparison is so nice between Eren and Gabi. I feel like I'm almost able to obviously I like Sasha. Sasha was one of the funnier, more likable characters, and I'm sad about it. But like because it's such good writing, like I can't bring myself to hate Gabi because, for example, her friend, what was her friend's name? Falco or something?
Falco is her
Falco,
main male friend.
Her main male friend. Like you could see how he was influenced by Eren and Reiner, both sides, to make him kind of hesitate and realize, like, yeah, maybe these the other side isn't just devils. They're just normal people like us. There's good, there's bad, and we happen to be enemies. While Gabi really hasn't had that opportunity or experienced that yet. All she's seeing is her friend Sophia and everyone else die around them by this enemy that didn't need to attack.
Yeah,
right?
Sophia and Udo were killed, along with people who were nice to her, like non-Eldians who were nice to her, like those soldiers. And that was important for her because as a Eldian, and she wants other people to see that not all Eldians are bad. And these guys liked her. They wanted what's best for her. So seeing them killed, seeing that like work that she put into making herself and the Eldians of the continent look good all went to waste because of what Eren did. Right?
So do you know that apparently people sent death threats to Gabi's voice actor? So
I did not. That's going way too far,
yes.
guys.
So I think she actually did a fantastic job voice acting her, but it's actually funny. Not funny. That's not funny. Let me rephrase this. But it's kind of ironic that like in the show, like the way revenge is happening type of thing, and then literally people in our world are kind of being affected by the show in such a similar way, where it's just blind hatred towards the opposite side, like,
and that's the problem.
And not understanding the enemy or the other side's perspective and seeing them as people. Like it's just it actually blows my mind, and it's so crazy. Like, I feel like a theme in Attack on Titan is kind of like this hatred, but also they use this propaganda to alienate the other side as like devils and terrible, and then you kind of get this message in this one that like everyone's just people. It's just kind of where you're born and like circumstances that kind of shape you, and it's just so wild to me that it's the same shit in our world, man.
No, yeah, and it's unfortunate that despite like books like this, or I guess manga or fiction in general, despite the fact that often it's not promoting this stuff, it's being critical of certain things, people take it completely the wrong way sometimes and just like run with it in the opposite way.
Yeah,
and you'll always have
news
that.
articles. If you're taking news articles seriously in this day and age, like it's just so sad to me because all they care about is clicks, right? It's clearly you're not understanding what you're watching. In no way is it promoting this type of behavior. It's a story that has these themes and these dark messages in it. But a common message is kind of like when Reiner was saying that like there's a lot of different people on the other side, and then the family was shocked because the entire time they were given this propaganda that they're just these devils and terrible people. Moment. And it's like they couldn't realize like wow, people are people, which is kind of funny to me because they're Eldians too. They have the same blood in their veins, and it's like if you're normal people, then they're normal people too, you know?
No, exactly. Ray, I want to go back to you and what you think about that kind of stuff we're talking about right now, because straight up, some people published articles saying that Attack on Titan was promoting fascism and crazy shit like that. So what do you take from that?
Right before I get into that, I do want to say, going back to Sasha, that like no way do I promote those threats. I think that's pretty disgusting. But the thing that pissed me off about her death and about Gabi is that I'm pretty sure she looks her right in the eyes, and before she kills her, like she recognizes the humanity in the other person, kills her. And I think this is one of the only instances in Attack on Titans where a person kills like another person, a main cast member. It's always like a mindless Titan or another Titan. Is this probably one of the only times a person actually kills another person in the main cast?
I mean, well, the first 12 episodes of season 3, there was a lot of people killing other people, but a lot of the times they tended not to be big name characters.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan does it a
Sasha
lot.
is big.
Attack on Titan does it a lot where like 99% of the people who die are people that you don't know or care about.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that happens. They're introduced later on, right? Like Zofia and Udo. And then, like, they get killed rather than them being there from day one. But, I mean, with Sasha, she was definitely there from day one.
Yeah. Sir, in terms of the fascism question, so are you asking, do you feel the show is promoting fascism?
Yeah, like, just to comment on, in my... What an absurd thing. Yeah, because, like it's obvious to you that like the message is promoting, right?
Do they have the reading comprehension of a grade 2? Like, oh, there is bad things that happen equals they are promoting bad things.
Bad things to happen. Yeah.
Like what if you read 1984 or something? Like you're saying, oh, the author's promoting like this kind of government. Like, of course not.
What an absolute joke. It's actually laughable.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there for you to know, Ray, that like how crazy some people are. Hookie Wookie, thank you so much for the donation. He says, "What up, Space Fam?" Yeah, like we could go back to anywhere you want to go back to, Ray, right now. Like,
yeah, this episode was a little bit of
it was because there's so much to talk about. We kind of like didn't follow any order, but if there's anything chronologically you want to discuss, Ray, like now's the time to bring it up.
Sure, yeah. Like I could just get into some of the important like events or characters brought up from the beginning. I mean, we talked about Gabi, Falco. We find out Gabi is Reiner's cousin. We learn more about the identities of the Jaw Titan and the Cart Titan. Yeah, so it starts with that big fight at the beginning we kind of alluded to. Then I really liked when it got into the like psychology of Reiner and his backstory. Even as a kid, when he's growing up, I even saw some parallels with Eren when it comes to Reiner as a kid, because he's kind of unskilled when he starts, if you remember, similar to how Eren was unskilled. He has a bit of a temper. He's wanting to fight the others, like he's calling them devils, which we saw with Eren and the Titans himself. So it was interesting because, you just assume, we talked about Reiner being this horrible person, split personality. And yeah, he's been through like a lot of shit, even with his family, learning that his father basically abandoned them. He had that identity crisis he's dealing with. There's a point where he actually like points a gun into his mouth and he's considering taking his life, which is, again, you like just before, I would have little empathy for Reiner, and right there you think, well, like this guy's history is pretty screwed up.
This dude wants to die. Like that's clear. Like he wants to die. The only reason he's not is because for other people to help other people. Yeah. And
his will as well has kind of gone down the drain, because I think at the beginning of the season, like he's able to transform into the full armored Titan, but his last transformation, this was I think episode 8, he's not fully transformed. Like he doesn't have the same effect, and I wonder, is it because his will is not as strong? Because he's obviously having a crisis of meaning. Earlier he's talking about ending his life, and he finds like, okay, my why is going to be to like help the others who are going to inherit the Titan power. So just seeing his evolution into this like really dark character, and Gabi's walking with him and she's like, you've changed a lot since you've come back. He's really like, his why has really become a lot more complicated, and it's
there's post-traumatic it's post-traumatic stress is also like affecting him in a negative way. Obviously he was at an impressionable age when all of this happened. And I gotta say, even Animac was telling me before the chapters were out at this point, like, I will never empathize with Reiner. I don't give a shit.
Dude,
like,
I feel so bad for Reiner. First of all,
bro, at the beginning, before this was revealed.
No,
and then
I'm
like,
these episodes are what made me feel bad for Reiner.
No, but what I'm saying, before these came out, kind of thing. Animac was like, bro, I will never empathize with this dude. Like, a chapter was coming out and you get like a bit of a flash of Reiner's backstory, and Animac was like, yo, I don't give a fuck. Like, this guy's a murderer. He's like, I hate him. And then after everything came out, like, which was in these episodes, he's like, he had to admit, like, with Ray here, that he had to empathize with him because fuck, like, his backstory, his upbringing, it is the fact that he was brainwashed as a kid, the fact that he was just trying to have a family and trying to get his dad to acknowledge him and stuff like that, and doing what he thinks is right. That's the powerful thing about Attack on Titan. It takes characters that we never want to empathize with in a million years, that we want to say, yo, they are 100% evil, and then they somehow manage to bring out the humanity in them and to make us pity them, or at least empathize with them, rather than just want them dead.
100%. I do want to say, Ray, you were definitely on point with the whole will thing. For example, Titans or Titan shifters can regenerate if they have the will to, or will to live. And Reiner, after protecting Falco, could not regenerate. And Falco even says, like, it's weird. Like, and then he realizes it's because he literally one scene was going to commit suicide, and then he decided not to because he still had people to protect and he cared about. And then in the next scene, he asks like Eren to kill him, please. And then he protects Falco. And after that, he was unable to regenerate. And so it was 100% a will thing. You're spot on. Also, in regards to Reiner and his backstory, I felt so bad for him, man. It's like he became a warrior that was going to inherit the Armored Titan just so he could kind of restore his family and like have his dad back in his life and stuff, and like bring that together dream. That way, because it was like a Maryland or whatever the hell they're called, like couldn't be with an Eldian. But maybe if he becomes like an honored warrior, then he can make it happen. And then if he becomes an honored warrior, and the dad's like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Never come here again." What's it called? I have my own family type of thing. Like, you're gonna ruin everything.
And that was so powerful because it shows that the honorary status means jack shit.
They don't even care.
That's just put there as like this kind of thing on paper, but in reality, even as the guy said, if he was dating an honorary Marleyan, which should be the same, or which should be the same as a Marleyan, like on paper, it doesn't mean shit, and he would actually still, his life would be ruined if people found out. So it shows that all as hard as Eldians work in the Marleyan nation, they can't actually ever get equality, which is another sad thing about Reiner's story.
And
no
then,
matter how hard
he
works.
Sacrificed becoming a warrior, and then it didn't work out because of that. And then he's a warrior. He's gonna have to fight and kill people, and his lifespan is reduced, all for nothing. And then when they're on their way to paradise, or as it's referred to in this season, it's like Marcel was killed protecting him, and then if he went back, he would have been eaten by another Titan because he's weak.
That was so funny.
He was forced to take charge. Like, low-key, Reiner's circumstances are very makes you
tragic.
Very tragic. Exactly.
Yeah. Porco was so funny when he's like, "Bro, like, what did you do there except like get saved by people?" and literally, Reiner, props to him. He's like, "No, that's pretty much all that happened. Like, I just got saved by people." He downplayed anything he did, which. Yeah, like, he knows how fucked up the stuff he did was, and he wants to atone for it by dying. It's just people like Gabi and Falco keep him wanting to, like, help them, even though he'd like nothing more than to just blow his brains out right now.
I totally forgot about the 13 years thing when it comes to Reiner until Briggs brought it up, and wow, that just makes it so much more worse.
Like he
so
sacrificed his life to reunite his family, and it just didn't work at all.
Yeah, and the life is going to be a lot shittier than if he didn't enter, because he's had to become like person who killed innocent people and stuff like that. So, it's horrible. And if you look at Gabi and Falco, you'll see Gabi is a lot more like Reiner as a kid, which they're cousins. So, like, it kind of relates that way too. But they're both super brainwashed and not questioning their brainwashing. While Falco, and part of it is Eren, but even before, I felt like it was pretty clear he wasn't as brainwashed as Gabi. He has a good head on his shoulders, and he's already seeing, like, things aren't as they're supposed to be. He wanted to become the Armor Titan in the first place to save Gabi from actually living a cursed life as a Titan in a short life. And meanwhile, Gabi is like, wow, he's just trying to steal my honor, right? So right away, he knows that the Marleyan propaganda is bullshit.
Yeah.
So props to him for that. Falco is very mature for his age.
And then especially after witnessing the Reiner-Eren conversation, like, you realize he kind of sees the perspective of both sides a lot more.
Exactly. And he straight up told, Gabi very well. She's like, why did they do that? Why did they attack us, innocent people? And he's like, well, actually, they were attacked and they were getting revenge. And then Gabi's like, I didn't see that. Did you see that? And then he's like, no. Like, which is like, yeah, but he should have said there, no, but Reiner's side, and he told me. Like, that would have been different. He's just like, oh, no, I didn't see it. Like, yeah, it's very much, and you'll see this, Ray, the point of Attack on Titan is it's very hard to escape these cycles of hatred. And this, you attack, I get revenge, I wait until I can get my revenge for your revenge, and it just keeps going, and it never ends.
You see the next generations who technically weren't even affected also kind of take on that hatred and revenge. Like, now they were directly affected because like, Eren and everyone attacked, but even before that, they still hated the other side without being directly affected, and it's always a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah, Ray, back to you. Let's get the Virgin talking.
Yeah, I feel bad. I'm just so excited. Go for it, Ray.
I also wanted to... We talked about comparison of different characters from Paradise to Marley, and I liked just comparing the places as well, because I was wondering what it was like with Marley with the Eldians being captured, technology. And it is interesting that just, like, how much the Eldians are treated like shit. Like, you get Reiner, you get Zeke as well, like, not treated well because he's an Eldian. And, like, you think to yourself, these guys who are not even from Paradise, well, not Zeke maybe, but Reiner, they were treated better on Paradise than they were here, technically. And it's just such a shitty place to be. Like, I didn't know what expectations I had of it. And then when I started watching this and saw the brainwashing, saw the way the Eldians are treated, it's just an awful place. And at the same time, it also interests me, this whole, like, I guess they're a royal family in a way, the Tiber family.
They're like a noble family.
Noble family, yeah. They were interesting as well because they're technically Eldians, but they are treated like I guess they're treated the best out of all the Eldians there. So that was an interesting kind of contrast there of them being Eldians, but at the same time.
And do you remember why they're treated well?
Is it? It's because they pushed the king to Paradise, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they had the whole fake narrative of a hero.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. They let
they
him
helped the Marleyan hero Helos, and like together they stopped the evil king. Like, right?
Yeah.
So now it's funny because you kind of see where King Fritz is coming from. You have the rest of the world that is waging war or constantly at war, and he's just like, let's just go in our walls. This is paradise.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the more the story goes on from the beginning, the more you. Again, I would never adopt that view myself, where it's like, just wait to die kind of thing. But you get where he's coming from. Like, I just want to live in peace, right?
In theory, if Eren's dad never stole the founding Titan and what's it called, did all this, actually, did Reiner?
They would have attacked. They would have
attacked regardless.
Yes, because Yeah, they did attack, and that's when it happened. Like, that's when they attacked. Grisha confronted the founding.
Well,
Titan.
Grisha escaped with the attack Titan, right? Grisha escaped with the attack Titan, so there was still some stuff going on. And I'd imagine, like, if like the Marleyans were just allowed to have like all the Titans except for the founding, and they kept up their lie, then they could have just lived in paradise.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works because there's a lot of factors going into it.
They wanted the resources, right? They wanted the resources.
Fast developing technology is making the Titans almost useless, and because of that, they need the founder so they could hold off long enough for their technology to upgrade and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They wanted the founder and they wanted the resources to keep up with everything. Okay.
And even if Eren didn't make it here, Tiber was already declaring war on the aliens on the island and saying that now Eren is going to kill them and they need to act fast. So, and then Eren attacked. So it's not like he declared war on the island devils after Eren attacked. No, he declared war on them right away, and then Eren attacked him after that. So if Eren didn't show up, Tiber was pretty much going to make the whole world.
Yes, at this point, I get it. I was more just saying in the beginning, the first attack. But yeah, at this point, I completely understand. Like, they're going to be going back and forth no matter what.
Yeah, so that's and that's why. I mean, Eren, like, it's fucked up. Like Mikasa says, you can't go back. Like, you killed innocent people, like civilians. You can't undo this. And yeah, it's super messed up. Reiner and Bertolt and Annie did the same thing. And I think the only reason Eren's doing it is because he doesn't see another way to protect like his own people on the island. But Ray, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this is going to Briggs saying if Eren's father didn't do what he did, the conflict might not have
or what do you think about Eren right now and what he's doing? Like, are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I was wrong. The more I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, going just to Eren and what he's doing.
In terms of Eren, his status? Yeah, I mean, is he doing what's right in terms of? Do you mean in terms of him going to Marley and
so without
taking that whole?
So what do you think of him all after the time skip? Because like obviously he's a badass. I mean, I will say that he's not as moral as he once was, but he's definitely a badass as far as characters go.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it's so weird seeing him. He looks emotionalist. Like he's so stoic, but not in like the good way. He's just like there's not much emotion there.
He's desensitized. It's like he's doing such fucked up shit that he needs to be emotionless or he can't carry it out. That's what.
Yes, that's actually a great way to put it. Yeah, it's so weird because we're not used to that. We're used to him being not necessarily irrational, though at times you could argue that, but he's just so over the top, dramatic. I think back to when he was captured that one time and he was just like weeping and crying when he was tied up. And here he's just, again, like it's weird to see him like that, where he has no emotion. He's just, he has a plan and he knows what he has to do. And even when he's fighting, like he doesn't, there's one part later on, I'm pretty sure another person is transforming. I forget exactly who it is. But he doesn't wait. Like he just goes full out, starts punching the person. Like his attack has
the Warhammer,
the Warhammer Titan,
the Warhammer.
Yeah. So we didn't even touch that. Yeah. We didn't even touch that. Like,
dude, we haven't touched anything, man. This is such a crazy 8 episodes. Oh my god.
The 9th Titan power was fucking revealed, eh?
Yeah.
Like you picked that up, Ray, and it was the Warhammer Titan. What did you fucking think about that new Titan? And yeah, I love the way Eren like just punched it before it was even transformed.
Yeah,
like
because I'm so far. Obviously, I don't have a wide selection of anime that I've watched, but besides this show, the only thing I have is Dragon Ball Z, and that show is all about allowing your opponent to like slowly transform, and just like as the audience accepting that, like, that's fine.
There's a bit of mutual respect between like martial artists and like power and stuff in Dragon Ball Z.
He defined like convention there. He's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna start punching.
in theory, if it wasn't the Warhammer Titan, any other Titan, if they transformed in that vulnerable place location, he would have killed them instantly.
Yeah.
Like, he smashed their head, he smashed their nape, and yet the Warhammer was still able to regenerate, which we find out later how they did it. Like, their body was hidden below ground, which was kind of cool.
That was weird, yeah.
And Eren was still very smart to kind of, like, he realized, like, I should have been able to kill them, kind of analyzes the body, finds the connection and like the location of the actual body. Eren's come a long way from his emotional or illogical self to like this calm monster.
Strategic. Yeah, exactly. Because now he's like, listen, Mikasa, if everything goes according to plan, I should be able to get the Warhammer Titan. Like, he just says that like blank face, and it's like, holy shit. Like, that's a big statement. And he straight up says that before he even knows like about the Jaw Titan and how it can actually hurt the crystal and stuff like that. But yeah, Ray, I just want to like, because when the Warhammer Titan came out, the initial chapter came out, like the community fucking exploded because we didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, what's the ninth Titan gonna be? Is it gonna be like a flying Titan? And some people thought that. Is it gonna be like another kind of Titan? And it ended up being this Warhammer Titan. What did you think of its powers compared to the other ones? Its look, all of that.
I was going to say, the look was a little weird. I don't want to say I necessarily love the look. But in terms of the powers, they're crazy. Like, there's a bow and arrow at one point, I think, created. There's the, like that thing that comes out of the ground that ends up being able to like pierce through.
Yes, like a spike. Eren. A spike straight up coming from the ground.
Yeah, like those were some very unexpected attacks compared to the other Titans. Like, being able to manipulate the environment like that was very different from kind of the other ones that we're used to.
So did it deliver on the hype of being like the final one revealed?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and what I'm curious about now, this is a question I have, is now that Eren has absorbed this Titan, like, how do the Titan powers stack up now that he has them? Like, what components of each of these powers does he have? Does he have them all? I'm curious about the nape too. Like, so now that he has absorbed the nape of this Titan, does his like pilot do the same thing with that kind of umbilical cord kind of thing in the crystal? So I'm curious about those things.
So when the Warhammer Titan formed, it formed from its feet. So yeah, we don't know how it's gonna happen. Like, is he gonna have the abilities of both?
In theory, I'd expect
that
he can, if he wants to, do the same thing.
I think at this point, my thought process was like, hey, does he have the option to transform into one or the other, or can he make the combination of both at this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will leave that for,
and we will find out
for the future. Yeah. And so there's that, which I thought was like super interesting. There's also the Jaw Titan, which I may hype up too much, but when I figured out that the Jaw Titan could cut through that indestructible crystal while nothing else could, right? Like, nothing we know of known to man can cut through it. I thought that was super hype, and I looked at the Jaw Titan in a completely new light. How did you enjoy Porco's Jaw Titan?
Plus, he was so much faster and stronger
than
the Ymir.
Exactly. And
so
they even pointed that out. Yeah, they're like, oh, he's way faster, nothing like Ymir. So, yeah, what did you think of Porco's version of the Jaw Titan?
Yeah,
right?
No, it was a lot better than Ymir's, I would have to say. The whole power behind the bite is crazy, too. And it's crazy. Who ends up cutting the jaw? Is it... or no, it's not the jaw, sorry. Is it cutting the arms and legs off? Levi
cuts the jaw, and then Mikasa later, like, weakens him even more by, like, cutting off his legs to cut mess up his jump kind of thing. But if it wasn't for the Ackermans, like I said this in a lot of videos, Eren would have lost that battle big time.
Oh man, like, they're so fucking badass there.
They saved like him multiple times in those encounters.
Yeah.
And I mean, like he was so calm, and his whole plan was relying on these guys saving his ass.
Yeah.
So you gotta hand it to him. He was at no point worried, and he's like, Mikasa, it's now or never. And then she shows up and like saves his ass.
It kind of makes sense why he wasn't so worried either, because we find out afterwards, like, what the hell? Like, Ray, what was your interpretation of like what would happen with Zeke there at the end?
Yeah. In terms of when they find him, like when
Yeah, like
Gabi comes
so.
in and they see
I mean,
Zeke
we
there.
should first mention.
I know. I just
The,
because what I was saying, I didn't want to
yeah,
like.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Never mind.
I was
Because
just
they've
thinking
been
like,
working. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, we didn't even address like the whole Zeke and Levi fight.
Yes.
Which we probably should at some point.
Yeah.
But,
So we'll talk about Eren and how like kind of calm he was after the fact. Then.
Yeah. Well, he does something I did notice at the fight because it was pretty like Levi just went in there and just made a mess of the Beast Titan, but he says something like I'm pretty sure he's looking at a clock, Levi, or something like his watch or something like that, and it seems like okay, is this the time? Almost like it was pre-arranged.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I noticed that right on the spot.
He could have also
Almost
been using
like-
that for like the timing of Armin and his Colossal Titan transformation because right after
Yeah.
he looks at it, the transformation happens.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and
But
that explosion
I-
happens and it distracts.
You are you're onto something.
Yeah, no, I mean it looked like there's a pre-arrangement there,
Yeah.
but that could definitely be a thing. I didn't even realize that with the Colossal Titan.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what did you
Zeke. Like I
think-
want to learn more about Zeke. Like what's going on here?
No, because that was so fucking crazy when at the end of the day, Gabi and Falco saw Zeke there and they're like, "Oh my god, how could you let them capture you? What's going on?" And then Hachi comes in and she's like, "So it looks like everything went according to your plan, Zeke Yeager."
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like, what the hell are Falco and Gabi thinking right now? Where
Yeah.
they're war chief, like they're hero, and like Ray, you gotta like recognize this, and you probably do. But Zeke is like the Levi Ackerman, like the shining hope of Marley and Eldians.
Yeah, because
And-
every Beast Titan prior to him wasn't able to use it the way he has. They mentioned that at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and because he's a great leader. And
He's a
does,
great
like,
leader.
A bunch of
and-
other stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. He's got a sick beard.
So imagine if like the number one person that you looked up to ends up betraying you. Like that
So,
was like crazy.
Gozen, I have a question. Did
Go ahead.
people know Zeke's last name? Or was that the first time that Gabi and Falco heard it?
Oh, I assume they knew. Yeah.
They knew? Okay. Because it was just kind of crazy because like they announced like their number one enemy during that like ceremony or the festival, Eren Yeager.
Yeah,
And then you
because they're
have-
Eldians, right? So they'll have similar last names. So I
so-
mean, the military might even like might
No.
or might not be aware that they're brothers, but
Yes.
you could, it's like Smith, like, oh, this guy's a Smith, this guy's a
Yeah.
Smith. They're not necessarily like
Yes.
related or whatever.
Speaking of last names too, Eren adopting like Kruger as that pseudonym or that fake name there was pretty crazy because we find out I think last season there was the Eren Kruger who was the
Dude, that guy was so
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Hmm.
and did he I'm trying to think back Eren would have remembered that because we get that whole flashback it was from
Yeah.
Eren.
And
But
it
Ray,
was
did,
interesting
Ray,
how
did
he
you
used
notice
that
who
name.
the old man was that sat next to Eren?
And
Yeah,
freaked
that
out.
would have been his father, I guess his grandfather,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
grandfather.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
He just talked to his grandfather there.
I know. No, that was awesome.
But I think what was important about that scene is the grandfather always looked kind of like just scared of Marley. And like he never actually, wanted to stand up for what happened to his daughter and stuff like that. But here you see just how affected he was by that finally, where he has like that psychotic breakdown.
Mhm.
And I think that was an important scene for us to get because he just never gave like a good reaction to his daughter dying. So I think we needed that for closure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was another interesting thing, especially because they set him up as like a doctor at first,
Yeah.
and then it's like no, he's like a patient. Like Attack on Titan is so good at those like mind fucks.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love it. I love it so much.
I do have to say though, I did not predict that to be Eren at first.
So at what point? That's a good question because like it was pretty obvious at a certain points, but I wonder what point you predicted it or didn't predict it.
Thinking back, I'm trying to think. I know it was before, obviously before Ryan ended up going down and saying Eren, like it
Oh
recognizing.
yeah, they
it was
showed it.
Eren.
They showed his face in the previous episode.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
When
trying
they
to
called
think.
the other guy.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if like when he saw his face, Did he know right away, or
Not right
did he-
away. No.
I was
Okay.
wondering if
You know
would've-
why? Because I'm so used to Eren with like the shorter hair, even though it was growing near the end of season 3, and I'm just used to his like explosive personality, and to see this emotionless person, he ends up like he's missing a limb too, right?
Yeah. So
Yes.
did you remember that Reiner and them actually talked about in the previous season? It was a little detail, so you could miss it, but you can actually control whether your limbs are growing back or not.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? Because we
Yeah.
get
So,
the situations
it was.
from
It's
before,
like
yeah.
Isayama giving you these little clues
Mm-hmm.
that it could be Eren for these reasons. But then, like, if you didn't pay attention, you're like, oh, there's no way it could be him because Eren is not missing, like, legs or
limbs,
whatever.
he would regrow it back, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So
No, there's a lot of like little clues like that upon a rewatch that like if you follow makes for a very satisfying experience.
I just so badly want to go back to season 1 now, rewatch everything, especially like in comparison with season 4, because again, it's like we talked about some parallels with Eren and Gabi, and I'd love to just go back and rewatch season 1 and just try to pick up on some of these things.
Bro, I like the last chapter is not out yet, but 100%, I guarantee you, when the last chapter comes out, everyone's gonna go back to the first one and be like, "Holy fuck!" But yeah, like there's so much there, and there's these constant references back to earlier stuff, and yeah, you'll get something new every time.
That's what I love about this show. I'm glad you brought me on to talk about it, because I love plots where like everything's intentional from the very beginning. I love that. Thinking back to like when I was a kid, one of my favorite books was like Harry Potter, and that was because of the intention that was like these clues that were put at the very beginning of the book and these twists.
I never knew that
I've
about
loved
you,
fiction all the way up that like have that particular component to their plot, and this is definitely one of them. Like there's not, as you mentioned before, it's not just like filler stuff sprinkled in for no reason. There's a reason for so many things. And looking back, I've said like, oh, it's just a coincidence probably, and you guys have been like, yeah, maybe.
It's like this guy looks like Eren, like he's just a random new character.
Yeah. No, I thought you would have known 100% once they showed the face. Like that was the reveal that it was Eren. That's so funny.
And he looks so mysterious. I wonder why they're focusing so much. I mean, and yeah, that's fair because if you didn't know about the limbs being able to like not grow back, that you might have been like, well, this doesn't make sense. Eren's a Titan shifter and stuff like that. So no, that's all fascinating stuff. What else do we have to discuss this time? How hilarious was it how Porco, even though he's amazing, like I think he's super like cool as the Jaw Titan, like design and strength wise. First of all, he got shit his pants, his Titan pants, when he found out that these guys who are humans are going to attack Titan. Remember when they're like, these guys aren't humans, they're devils.
Oh, yeah, they're
because
devils,
like first of all, that was so cool for the Survey Corps because like all of these Titans, like people would usually be running away from them, and these guys are straight up attacking the Titans, which is crazy to think about.
It's so interesting too. Again, going back to season 1, where if you were to tell me by season 4 that a Titan would be calling a human a devil, like I'd be like, yeah, you're like
Titans can talk.
Well, yeah, it's just like how could a Titan, like, because you're presented in the story in such a way that it's the Titans that are devils. They are these othered kind of creatures, and like a Titan itself being able to consciously think that a human is a devil. It's just such a weird reversal from season 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and I want to also mention him being used as a nutcracker by Eren.
That was so cool, man.
Like it's so funny, and he's like the whole time he's thinking, he's like, "Please God, no, don't let this be happening." And Eren is just using him as a fucking nutcracker. Unbelievable.
He knows what he's doing now.
Yeah, I mean, Eren's like, again, very secretive right now, but at the same time, badass. So it's like, he's clearly not some innocent protagonist, he's clearly, he's intelligent, he's strategic, and he's pretty messed up too with what he's willing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of other stuff, I mean, I think we alluded to the conversation between Reina and Eren underneath the actual like that festival that was taking place.
Yeah.
You know,
The
that
speech was going on.
Yeah, that was interesting in terms of them kind of expressing their common like humanness between each other and trying to kind of talk past ideology, because this show, as we mentioned, like there's some super ideological like components to it, propaganda, and seeing the other as a human was interesting to
Yeah,
me.
it's so crazy how far Aaron's come or changed. Like he did a complete 180. Like in the past, he would have just hated Reiner blindly, right? And it's understandable why he would. And now it's like I feel like he kind of understands where he's coming from and realizes like I'm gonna have to do the same thing. You know, I'm no better than
Exactly. Exactly. And I think the maturation of Aaron's character is like one of the best parts of Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
oh yeah.
yeah, at the beginning, he gets annoying, but at this point, like he's completely different. Like you could tell, like that naive. The difference between good and evil is like obvious. He no longer thinks something like that, and that's why I respect Attack on Titan. Like every time you think you know, like what's going on, there's a total mind fuck. There's like a switch that happens. Like the Titans are the enemies. No, the Titans are victims who are now humans. It's like like now the humans are the enemies, or whether it's the Marleans or like infighting within different things. Now even the Survey Corps, Eren's acting against the others. So it's like what's the right thing? No one knows the right thing, and nothing is presented as obviously the right thing. So I think like Attack on Titan is such a mature story in that kind of sense, where there isn't a character you can point to and be like, yeah, that's obviously the good guy here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like history is, created. I don't want to say created by the victors, but it's crafted throughout this entire show and able to be manipulated.
Oh, yeah.
Manipulated in certain ways.
Definitely that is what was pretty much told to us by Kruger. Like,
yeah. I thought you were going to say Doflamingo.
No. But no, Kruger pretty much said, like, yeah, their narrative makes no sense. Our narrative makes no sense. Like, there's probably some kind of gray area in between, which is the truth about Emir Fritz and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's definitely always playing with history and how it's not really real. It's just fabricated.
Yeah, it's so relevant to, like, life right now,
right?
And like history itself, and
not even right now, but like forever. But yeah, you're right, it is relevant now too, but just like it's timeless though as well.
Like so many times people are in these conflicts that they don't even remember why they're in it. It's just they've gotten so far into it that like you just blindly go along with the ideology that you're told, and this show puts that on display like to the extreme. So it's awesome in that sense.
And in no way promotes it. Like,
no, I don't know why people would think that.
Because they probably don't even think that. I honestly think that they just want clicks on their freaking articles.
That's true. It's probably.
I think it's people that are ignorant and read the articles that believe it. But I think the people that are like writing them just want clicks. Like, bro, you look in today's media, even on the news, revolving like the COVID-19 vaccine. There's so much false information being spread just for clicks.
It reminds me of when the Joker came out and people were like, "Oh my god, like they're promoting like serial killers," and it's like, no, it's not at all.
That movie was so good.
Why? Because you have a good villain that people like because they're a good villain. They don't like it because of the things that he's doing. It's like he's a good character. Like
yeah, exactly. It's a well-told story, right?
Yes. When I grow up, I would like to be like the Joker.
Yeah, but another like great movie if you guys need recommendations, the new Joker one. Well, the newer. It's not super new, but it definitely also has like different aspects to it and interesting twists.
Well, yeah, it does similar things to Attack on Titan in the sense of it puts you in like this really awkward position of, do you empathize with this character? Is it okay to empathize
and
with
that
this
doesn't
character?
mean and empathize doesn't mean like I condone their behavior. It just means like, I see it from their shoes. Like I get how they ended up in that situation rather than oh, I think they did the right thing. No, that's not what empathizing means. But cool. So there's that. I also wanted to say Peak. We didn't comment on Peak. What do you think? Peak new waifu?
Bro.
Is that the one who crawls on all fours?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my god.
She is a new waifu.
That was so weird.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. She was, what's it called? She's able to stay in her Titan form for months, maybe even longer, right?
And she's always right. She's always very clever and very right.
It's like when Yoruichi's a cat for a long time.
Her voice is pretty disturbing too, if I recall.
I don't think so.
No?
I mean,
No,
I
I
watched
just
the
think
sub, so it
I
seemed
think
fine
she just
to me.
has like a normal girl's voice. I don't know why.
when she transforms into the Titan?
Okay, well, yeah, as a Titan, sure.
Yeah.
Everyone sounds a bit weird, but
Yeah.
in her normal girl voice, I thought
Not in the normal girl voice, but
so yeah, I like her as a character. She's pretty cool, and she adds like another waifu contender into the mix. And yeah, I thought it was interesting how they made her have to like crawl for a while as she's getting used to walking again, because yeah, the card titan can maintain that form for a really long time. So because of that, it has repercussions where you can't just go from like months of using it like that to being able to walk on two legs like it's nothing. Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting world building thing that they did that with Peak.
Yeah, so, Peak's really cool. I like her a lot, honestly.
And then I guess all this is leading up to now is Sasha's death, right?
Oh,
we didn't discuss. Like, I remember in previous episodes where Ray was messaging me like, "Oh man, I like these episodes because like, you know, it focused heavily on Sasha and stuff like that." and he talked about how much he liked Sasha. So as soon as we got to this part, I'm like, "Oh man." When we got on stream together, me and Ray, I'm like, yo, sorry for putting you through that, man.
Yeah.
I know that must have broke your heart.
And her last
the entire time Ray was talking about Sasha, that's all I could think about.
Oh, neat.
But low-key, I love when Attack on Titan kills off main characters, because not only does it affect us, but it affects all the characters around them that are connected to them. Like, you see Mikasa and Armin crying at the end. You see Jean getting mad at Eren for kind of acting on his own or acting recklessly. None of this would have happened if you didn't bring us here, type of thing. You see Connie's reaction. The entire every character is affected by Sasha's death, including ourselves. And I think that's something that Attack on Titan like uses well, but maybe not so much in the beginning. You know?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ray. Just like, what did you think of that? Do you agree that Eren's to blame? Like, what do you take? What view do you take of the whole death thing?
Is he to blame? I mean, I don't put the blame on him for her death. I think
it's Gabi.
Yeah, fuck
blame Gabi, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, it's the thing that just got me. I talked about that before. Is her dying? Like, we have seen main characters die here and there. Like we got that with Erwin, for example, but just for another human to kill a main character, in my opinion, it's so rare in this show because it's usually like a Titan or someone else. So, I hated how she looked into her eyes, and she still went through with it, and it just, I'm going through a whole lot of emotions here.
I think Gabi's such a good
the stages
character,
of grief.
I think
Gabi is a great character. And I
think
the fact
she's great, yeah.
that she's hateable is part of what makes her a good character, right? I think
she's like Suzaku, but good.
She's supposed to be hateable, right?
I'm sorry, I'm throwing a lot of other anime references in today that Ray won't get.
Way over my head.
Yeah, I just let them go because like if I go too much into them, like we're gonna get off topic.
Yeah,
but
sorry guys.
No, it's all good. I do want us to cover that at some point in this anime version podcast. Code Geass.
Oh, my bad. Code Geass. Why did I say ReZero? ReZero is next, but Code Geass for sure. Even maybe Death Note.
No, yeah, I do want to do the classics and obviously relevant anime that are coming out this season and stuff like that. But there's so much potential. So you guys, you can always leave us suggestions, and also we'll be going through a lot. You know, the potential with Anime Virgin is endless, which is what's exciting.
And you know what's really cool as well? Someone brought this up in chat. So Sasha had the opportunity to kill Gabi, but didn't because like she's a child, you know? And then now Gabi comes back and kills Sasha.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off though. Like that, because I remember, and I know I'm not being empathetic enough to Gabby, but I'm like, you're only alive because she didn't kill you, man. Like she could have, and she decided to spare the child, and then the child comes back and kills her. It's like, like it's irritating in that sense.
Attack on Titan, one of the few anime where like not one of the few anime, actually I guess only in anime you see these little kids with huge eyes fighting on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, like that part got to me because it's like it's pretty much saying that in this war-torn world, right? If you're a good guy, like in a moral sense, where it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna kill that child soldier, that it'll come back to bite you in the ass, right? Like Marco 2 was this like super nice, optimistic guy, innocent guy, and he couldn't make it in the world, right?
Yeah, I think that's
and
an
now
ongoing.
You have Sasha too.
That's an ongoing thing. Like you realize, Eren and Armin kind of have to throw aside some of their humanity, and even same thing with Commander Erwin and Levi. Choices need to be made that are so inhumane, kind of for the betterment of your side, and it's crazy, or for your life and your friends not to be killed.
Yeah, it's like what Flock is always saying, like, we need a devil. Like, you need to become a devil, or else you'll get killed by devils.
Become what you hate in order to beat them.
Exactly, and that dates way back to season 1, where Eren had to fight Titans by using a Titan, right? So, yeah, there's so much of that ambiguity, of that, like, Machiavellian style looking at the world that's going on. Because, yeah, I mean, what happens if you're a complete pacifist like the King in the Walls, right? You're just eventually going to get killed, and all your people are going to get killed. Is that the right thing for a king to do? Like, again, it's up for debate, but probably not. I mean, you're supposed to look after your people and make sure they're safe, not just wait for them to get killed.
Yeah, it's interesting as well.
Sorry, go ahead, Ray.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's interesting as well with, like, this mission, for example, deeming whether it's a quote-unquote success or not. Like, lives were lost, but you get one of the founding Titan powers. So, yeah, the show makes it a lot more complicated to be like, are we moving towards a step in the right direction to, like, peace, whatever that means? So it's so complicated. And again, like, you lose Sasha, the person who brought, like, that comic relief in this super again, dark show.
Considering that there was only 8
show now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, considering it was only 8 casualties, I think, and they recovered a full-on Titan and massacred, like, the docks and their military and a lot of their stuff. I think it was an overwhelming victory.
It was on paper,
on the Eldian side, but there were those other deaths, like you mentioned, with like the Colossal Titan, right? Like on the other side, just in general, people dying itself.
Yeah, not on our side, but like on the other side. Just Sam, thank you for the 1,000 bits. He says, "Gabi goat, Gabi gang."
Let's go,
Gabi gang. No, but it's so funny when people say that because she's just so hated.
Yo, Gabi did nothing wrong.
Yeah, and that's another thing that Ray probably doesn't know. In the anime community, maybe other communities too, there's a meme of taking a very fucked up character and then saying they did nothing wrong.
Wait, it was a meme?
Yeah, it's a meme.
I thought Griffith did nothing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. And Griffith is a character from Berserk, which is considered like one of the best, if not the best, manga of all time. And it's directed not towards like people from like 12 to 18, but for adults in like 20 to 50 kind of
thing.
That
could be freaking traumatic, man. Berserk is very traumatic for like I would not recommend.
If your like mom walked in on you reading Berserk or something, that would probably that would be the end of your life.
Like I think like Berserk is darker than Attack on Titan by quite a bit.
And I don't know about necessarily, I mean it is, you're right. But it's not just about being darker. It's more explicit with everything.
That's true.
Like it'll show you everything in a way that a shonen just can't. And Attack on Titan is in a shonen magazine, so it just can't show you as much as
even though Attack on Titan's in a shonen magazine. I do consider it a seinen, but you're absolutely right. There's going to be restrictions on it because of where it's being shown.
Yeah, and so that's up to you, like what you want to consider it. But definitely, it has a different feel than than something like One Piece or something
Yeah.
like Dragon Ball Z, right?
Well, maybe in the beginning. It was still dark in the beginning, but it did feel very shonen-esque. But like, bro, look at this season. Look at this season.
No, I agree, and like I don't view it as like what do you expect of shonen. I view it as what is it categorized as, like what is the actual magazine it's in, kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. It's completely darker and it gets much more real than a lot of shonen do. I just imagine Goku coming in here and be like, guys, don't worry, just wish him back with the Dragon Ball.
Where are you guys in Dragon Ball Z right now?
We're pretty far, man. We're the Fusion Saga is coming up.
Oh, you're wrapping
Wednesday.
up Z. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a crazy ride with that as well. Guys, check it out if you haven't. Dragon Ball Virgin, also on all the same podcast platforms.
So have we talked about Zeke, like in like the final moments?
Yeah, we touched upon it, but if anything else you guys want to add, go ahead.
I just thought it was cool that during the fight, I think Zeke says, Eren Yeager is not my enemy.
Yeah, everyone was like freaking out at the beginning.
What the hell does he mean by that? And then he goes down so easily. It's like, the Beast Titan shouldn't go down that easy. Like, I know Levi is a beast, but And then we get the final scene. And Ray, did you freak out when you saw that?
Yeah, this was the one where Gozen was talking about like good job kind of thing, sticking to the.
Yeah, they told him like he did, like it was his plan kind of thing. Hanji dropped that. That was crazy to hear because, again, we're used to Zeke being on the other side. So for him to, I want to know as well, like how in cahoots is he with the scouts? Like, has this been going on? I presume this is like a recent thing, but okay, I'll tell you just something that was already covered in this season. Yelena was his follower, right? Or that woman was his follower, right? That took off the beard.
Yeah.
What a bad disguise.
Yeah, I know. Let's just ignore that. But yeah, terrible disguise.
Also, there's
especially for
little
a woman,
things about Attack on Titan that I always like, so you trapped both Titans. Why didn't you close the door that you trapped them in?
Why didn't someone keep lookout? Like, yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they would have been found regardless, but it's like you trapped them in a trap door. Just close it back up if possible.
No, there are some moments like that for me too. Like when Eren was literally, like his mouth was over the nape of the Jaw Titan. Reiner wakes up and he lets him get all the way to him instead of just biting through to the Jaw Titan.
That's anime time. Anime time's always weird to like understand because it's it's like from Eren's perspective, maybe it's like, hey, if I'm biting into this Titan, by the time I eat it, like I'm leaving my nape open to be attacked. Like it's hard to understand perspective of like how long it would take Reiner to get there if he saw an opening. The same way like Eren attacked the Warhammer Titan. But also another thing, they just left that door open for Sasha to be killed.
Yeah, I mean,
like, what if someone just it's a little bit chilly in here? There's a bit of a draft.
No, but the reason that, by the way, again, another 1,000 bits. Thank you so much, Sam. You are amazing. Another thing about that is they were still waiting for that one guy to come in.
That's true. He was lookout, right?
That's why they kept it open. But yeah, that was irritating. And it's funny. I know what's gonna happen, and I'm like seeing Gabi and Falco like running and the blimp getting away, and I'm like, maybe they won't reach it in time. Like part of me is just like, oh god, I don't want this to happen, but I know it's gonna happen. So that's the crazy, bizarre experience of rewatching the show.
Yeah.
I'm confused about Zeke. I'm also curious to see what they're gonna do with Eren because I'm pretty sure Hanji told him, you trusted us, but now we don't trust you. And the relationship, like, it can't be the same.
They had him tied up, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, they arrested him or whatever.
Again,
right?
We didn't even mention that Levi kicked him in the face again, or kneed him in the face.
Yeah, like flashback to when he kicked him in the face in court.
I mean, Eren has a very kickable face.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Eren has such a kickable face. But he sees in his eyes, which I think was important, the same look he used to see in the underground, which is like a place below the places within the walls. There's like a place below that, which I think you have to actually watch like the OVAs to fully experience. But that's where Levi grew up. That's where Levi and Kenny had their whole like past. And in that place, I assume he said that because they just they have hopeless looks. Like there's no other way. I'm desperate. I have to do the only thing that's left.
Yeah, Attack on Titan does that frequently. They always mention the eyes. For example, like when they were recruiting people, he only really asked people why they were joining if they had eyes that seemed unaffected by like war and struggle and death. Like someone like Eren, he walked right by, and other people because they were affected by like the invasion from Titans, while people that weren't affected, it's like he could tell the difference in their eyes. And it was the same thing once soldiers went on missions and killed and saw their friends die in front of them, their eyes changed again. And then I guess the people underground are in like hopeless situations, and it's the same thing with Eren. Like he feels like he has no choice but to do these things, and he's changed so much. And then they mention the eyes again. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see because the last chapter isn't out, Ray, so we don't know how all of this is going to end. But I think it's going to be super interesting to see, like, what at the end of the day, will there be someone who you could say, like, yeah, they were probably the most right, or will it just be everyone, like, it all depends on who you ask kind of thing.
It's going to be so hard, like, because we're biased. We followed the story of one side so much, right?
Yeah, it's very hard for us to turn our backs on Eren at this point.
Yeah, on 3 seasons of like getting connected with characters and where they're
there's
coming
that
from.
loyalty. There's that loyalty that like Isayama has built in us, and now all of a sudden our character is killing civilians, innocent people, and it's like, bro, we watched him grow up, and you know, you want to think he's doing what's right, but I don't know. Is he? Like, you can't be sure.
And I think it makes it clear that no side is right here. It's like, it's war.
Exactly.
And war never changes.
At the very least, I think Attack on Titan, whatever happens, nobody is going to be 100% right.
100%.
It's just like, it's like someone going to be 51% right and 49% wrong. You know, like that's, I think, what we're looking for here because, yeah, there's no easy answer. Whoa, okay. Anything else we want to mention before we wrap up this episode?
Not for me. I just think you're totally right in saying the show is getting better and better.
Yeah,
and,
wow. Yeah.
You know, it's rare to get a show nowadays that it does get better every season. A lot of people say, like, the first 2 seasons are great, and then it kind of goes downhill.
Yeah, because sometimes they have an idea. I feel like sometimes they have an idea for the first season well mapped out, right? Mm-hmm. And then they kind of, with the second season, they're kind of like trying to figure out what else to do. And then third, they're like, oh, what else ideas do we have left? We use the good ones. Well, Attack on Titan, it was just from the beginning, he probably knew what he was going to do. And so he didn't have to worry about coming up with like new stuff every chapter because he had a basic idea of what he wanted for an end result.
Yeah, I love that. I love when manga seem to be so planned every arc, every season, and they like it's just because Attack on Titan's doing super well doesn't mean that they have to add another couple hundred chapters to like what could be a masterpiece exactly. At like 140 or whatever number
exactly.
we're at now.
Like I like a lot of anime, like a lot of manga, but for example, this I'm sure is gonna have a much better ending than the 7 Deadly Sins, and I love the 7 Deadly Sins, but I was not satisfied with that ending. Like, dude, to me, it wasn't.
I'm not even caught up, and I love the 7 Deadly Sins.
It just it kind of seemed thrown in there, but I love I'm a big fan of the series, but I can't compare it to like this as the final season. Like, just want to throw that out there.
Especially like this, the way the anime is done nowadays. Like, there's so little filler, and the production value and quality is so much higher. Like, if you look back to series like Naruto and Bleach. Like, it's like there's so much filler and there's so much padding and like it feels so dragged out just for the money. And I love the way like something like Attack on Titan is being done these days. Even though like it's kind of weird that they're like final season, part 1.
Yeah, and with Attack on Titan, like it's so good, man. It's so good from start to finish, and it keeps getting better. And it keeps people guessing. Like, we still don't know for sure. Like, I'm going to come out with a video soon about, like, a popular theory for how it'll end, which I won't mention to Ray. But we don't know at the end of the day. And not knowing for sure till the last chapter is pretty crazy. But it's been, like, right up to the last chapter, it's been such a crazy ride. Like, the last chapter that came out, 138, was probably like one of the best, if not the best chapter yet. So it's finishing strong, I think, 100%.
Wait,
Cool.
someone in chat that said, no, I think they confirmed there won't be a part 2. I just don't see how it's possible to end this series.
They're not going to finish it. If that is the case, then they're going to not finish the anime.
It'll be an anime original ending? That sounds gross. To be honest, though, I do not know where, like, for example, where the current anime is relative to the manga. I can't remember exactly.
They have way too much to cover in, like, the next 3 or whatever episodes that...
Yeah,
that,
well,
like, people are saying
I've read, like, right now for watching the anime, like, I've only watched the first 8, so I'm at the point where Sasha's died, but I'm up until the point in the manga, I'm like 4 chapters behind. I know, I had to find a way to not use, like, a land, like...
It's like, I'm up to where this crazy thing happens.
Where this happens.
Like,
no, I'm up to, like, 4 chapters behind, so I don't know how much they're going to adapt in these next 8 episodes, because 8 episodes, they actually tend to adapt a lot. It just seems like there's way too much in the manga for them to finish in this season.
Yeah, so we'll see. Again, I don't know how many episodes. Like, usually a season, in my knowledge, an anime season is max, like, 25 episodes. But I don't know if they're going to go that far, if they can go further. Like, I'm not sure.
16 also feels like a weird number, you know? It's like, I feel like this is deliberate. They're going to do 16, and then they're going to probably do, like, maybe another 8 to 16 or something like that.
Yeah, because 16...
Or 8 or 12 or...
won't even come close to finishing it up. Like, won't even come close.
Fair enough.
And like, the only thing I could imagine is if they only do 16 is that they're gonna leave it at a random point and make you buy the manga to finish it, because they can't even force an ending in that little time. Like, I don't even think they can force the ending.
Oh, trust me, they can force an ending. Have you seen?
I guess we'll see.
Have you seen Blue Exorcist? Season 1?
No, I haven't. But I did hear about Full Metal Alchemist, and the original was like, the manga wasn't finished, so they just threw something in there.
To be fair, I actually liked the Full Metal Alchemist ending. It just wasn't as good as Brotherhood, but it was still good.
Yeah, I only watched Brotherhood, but that's good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Cool. So I think we can pretty much wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah. I
with
think
this
we
one.
covered everything.
Remember, guys. Yeah, remember, guys, that for the next one, we're just going to be covering all the anime episodes left. So that's either going to be, like, how much did we say, 5 or 7, depending on
between 5 to 7 episodes. Yes.
Yeah, and 2 of those episodes are supposed to come out the Sunday or the day right before the podcast episode. So just in case you're confused, that's the situation. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang.